guys.
Hello! So we are again continuing on our reverse engineering of the Casio PT180 keyboard.
And to make more sense of what all of these, how they relate to each other, I figure it probably makes sense to start tracing them back up to the CPU here.
Yep.
Because some of these are obviously going to be the register I/O input pins, and some of them are going to be bank select I/O output pins, and it's very likely that the designer would have arranged them physically on the package near one another. So we're going to go poking around and see what we can figure out there. Eddie, if you could tell me like keyboard pin 1 or user control board 1.
Yep.
And then I'll just look for continuity up there.
Yep. And just to explain a little on the way we've described the CPU. So the CPU has 4 sides. Now normally we would count pin 1 as being that closest to the circle, but on this particular chip it actually looks like there are 2 circles, so we don't exactly know where pin 1 is, and we haven't been able to find any information.
I think it's off this corner, but this package is really weird. It's
Right.
30 by 20, so we're doing north, south, east, west, counting the pins 1 to 30, 1 to 20, 1 to 30, 1 to 20.
Right.
Just to make it easy to note it down. We don't actually care in the software what these are because, well, we're not writing software for this.
Yep.
And that's enough for us to be able to find them again as we need to. So.
Right. So on my paper I have the keyboard 1 through 13 lines and the user interface board 1 through 19 lines. So why don't we start with keyboard 1 and see what CPU number that one connects to.
And this is definitely a cooking show moment because we've of course already got all of these, and I'm not going to go through the torture of trying to count again, so Eddie's just going to write down the number as I
Magic.
pull them out. So keyboard 1 is on this east side of the chip. It's on that pin right there.
Okay.
Eddie, I'll write down the number.
Magic. All right. Keyboard 2.
Keyboard 2. Okay, that's also on the east side of the chip. It's right there.
Okay. Keyboard 3. Sorry.
Okay, no beeps on that side. Oh, I missed it the first time. It's right there.
Okay. And let's skip down to keyboard 7.
So there's 4, 5, 6, 7. I assume that's because those are shared lines from the 2 different headers.
No.
The ones you just had me skip.
The ones I had you skip were just because through the magic of having done this before, I wanted to go from the east to the west bank.
Okay. So this one is on the west side.
Okay. Keyboard 8.
8. Also on the west side of the chip.
Okay. Keyboard 9.
Right there.
And let's skip on to user input. So let's go to user 1.
Okay. So right there. West side of the chip.
Okay. 2.
Also on that bank in the west side of the chip. It's like all these lines leaving here are all related to one another.
West side 3, or sorry, user input 3.
And yeah, it's on that west side.
Okay.
I see that there's a similar pattern leaving the chip on the east side here, so that's probably input or output, and that would be input or output, so our scanning matrix is spread across these.
Right. So that's essentially what we did. We just went through all the lines and beeped out where they were CPU-wise and which pin they connected to the CPU on. And what we found out was that there was indeed, as Whisker mentioned, banks of inputs and outputs. Here is all the information for the different lines. So 1 through 13 are connected to these east and west pins of the CPU. And 1 through 19 of the user interface is connected to these different pins. Now some of the pins on the CPU we saw were actual like power or ground lines, and so I've denoted that here. West 08 is kind of a mystery.
Yeah, it's in the middle of a bus and it's spamming out a pulse, which we'll look at here in the scope when we check out some other pins. But it doesn't actually appear to be part of the scanning matrix. I'm still not quite sure what it's doing.
Yep. Mystery.
Alright, so let's fire up the oscilloscope and take a peek at some of these pins and see what a scanning matrix pin looks like when it's in action.
Okay. You're going with West 7?
The one before a mystery pin, right?
Yeah. Let me see, there's a square wave. Very nice.
Okay, and then our mystery pin is here. So you've got some little pulses coming by.
Yep.
Next one up from that.
Looks the same.
Pulses. So those last three, the first one was one of the bus line selectors, and the next one up was our mystery pin, and the third one was a line selector. But notice that our first one has these longer pulses. Our third one, which is part of the same job set, has little tiny pulses. Not entirely sure why. If anyone knows, do let us know. And then the last one that we were able to identify, probing to our keyboard and user control, was here. And that's got this same pulsing set. And we thought we would double check and see if there were any extra lines before or after this, and check out what's here. Having a heck of a time here. Yeah, check that out. Exact same pulse structure. So by this we guessed that this was also part of our keyboard matrix, even though it's not connected to anything on this particular model of the keyboard. It's still looking for things being connected. And the same story with the one right next to it. It's sending out pulses. So there's two pins here that are not hooked up to anything on the PCB that in the code are being treated as part of the keyboard scanning matrix loop. And then just to show you real quick, on the east side, these are obviously the inputs, because when you select them there. They're a little bit different.
Ooh. And I believe it was also from probing this CPU chip with the oscilloscope while the keyboard was on that we were able to find which pins were associated to the audio output.
Yeah, it was very easy to guess that if west side was going to be for one part of the matrix, east side was going to be for the other side of the matrix, that this side of the chip, which is pointing towards all of the audio amplification circuitry over here, is probably going to be where the audio is coming out of the chip. And sure enough, a lot of these lines are associated with the audio output.
Should we start the demo and show the different elements?
That's probably best saved for next time.
Okie dokes.
ProtoSynth MIDI, ProtoSynth MIDI Lite, and all compatible modules are available for sale at tindy.com/stores/TYMKRS, and in-depth technical information about this and all of our products are available at tymkrs.com.